Okay, well, we are here and ready to go for our third edition of the USA IST Office Hours. We're super excited for everyone that was able to join us tonight. Like normal, we're going to be posting the recording afterwards as well as the slides so that you and your friends can view it after the fact if you're unavailable or if you just want to rewatch something, and we'll send it out in an email for everyone that's not on Facebook. But it's really basically go time. So most of the things that we're going to be covering tonight are sort of last minute reminders, checklists of things that you need to have at the forefront of your mind when you're getting ready to go. But we're, 273 hours from when our participants are going to be arriving on site. So it's really our last minute crunch time to get everything ready to give them the best experience possible. So without further ado, I think we'll get rolling into this. So Russell, you want to talk a little bit about who we are?
Thank you, Kathy. We've started each one of these sessions reminding everyone that there are two specific organizations or groups that we are working through on this process of the World Scout Jamboree. We have our USA Contingent. We're one of the more than 150 National Scout organizations or NSOs that are participating in the Jamboree. And then we have the host, also known as the organizing committee, also known as the Jamboree planning team. They're on the side that is putting the Jamboree together. Rachel, one of our young adults on our CMT team, often describes it that the host is the party planners and we are all the party guests. And so it's time for the party to start and time for the guests to show up, and it's going to be a wonderful party and we're all going to enjoy it very much, doing each and every one of our parts in it. So that slide outlines, and if there's any doubt still in your mind about who's who and who's responsible for what, be sure and take another look at that slide. And then within our contingent management team, on the next slide, we have specific individuals that are involved. We have a group of folks on the commissioner team that are focused on our participants, our units. We have 142 and almost 143 units that are participating in our USA contingent, and we have a set of commissioners that are specifically focused on them. And then on the IST side, we have representatives from each of our 4 regions, plus Mackie and Kathy and Bill Daggett at the top of the chart there that supports our international service team. Once we get to the Jamboree, we're all going to operate as one big happy family team. And so if you need assistance in any kind of way that our commissioner team can help anybody and everybody, including me, Jerry Salzer, who's my young adult counterpart, and everybody else who's part of the commissioner team, we'll do our very best to help you solve whatever issues that you have. So we're looking forward to seeing you there. Most of our team will be arriving essentially the same time as most of you, between the 17th and 18th next week, and we'll look forward to seeing you there. Thank you.
So a couple of things that you should have ready to go as your top resources and things to know before arriving. We have USA specific things, just like Russell mentioned, there's a difference between our contingent and the host team. So for our contingent, our top resources are going to be the Adventure On app, which we're going to talk about more in detail on the next slide. The IST helpline, which is linked in the app. So once you open that USA Adventure On app, there is a specific button of an IST helpline. So there's a whole outline there of the reasons that you can and cannot call it. It's basically a go-to resource if there's things that you can't find just by asking around with your friends, looking on the app, and it's non-emergencies. And the other thing to note is while our Facebook group has been our primary means of communication with the contingent, during the event itself, we're not going to be able to monitor that quite as closely. So it's mostly going to be used as more of a promotional, share pictures, that kind of thing group. It's going to be less about actual questions. On the host side of things, they're going to have their own app that's separate from the USA one. It's going to have different but complementary functions. So there's going to be some things that are on both apps and some things that are specific to each one. That one has not been released as far as I know, but it should be out in the coming week or so that you can get it before you arrive. They're also going to have some specific contact information for emergencies. Besides just 911, it's going to be a lot faster to get help with the summit-specific ones. So those will all be listed on both of the apps. Other help that you can get from the host is going to be the subcamp commissioners. So each of the subcamps within ECHO are going to have their own commissioners that are separate from the USA ones. They're going to be for all of the world to use, and those are going to be great resources, as well as a couple of tents throughout the camp that are going to be able to answer questions. So to go more in detail about our USA specific app, it's called Adventure On. It's available both in the Apple Store and on the Android app market. Right now, over 70% of our IST have already downloaded it, which is absolutely phenomenal. We want to make sure every single person has that before they arrive at the Jamboree if possible, because it's going to be incredibly useful, and we're going to use it for lots of key information transfers. So it's going to be your perfect resource for any USA information, as well as a way to connect to our commissioners. There's a private messaging feature on there where you can set up group chats with other people in your area, or you could set up a chat with your tent mates, or just people you want to connect with. You can schedule meetings. One of the coolest features is that you can invite the national key 3 to your gathering. So say you're having a gathering of, I don't know, say you want to create a wood badge gathering, you could invite the key 3 to come to your gathering, which is an awesome way to directly connect with some of our top BSA leaders. It's going to have a static wayfinder, so maps of how to find things. It's also going to have lots of ways to share stories, hear up-to-date information, things like that. One thing to note is on Tuesday, July 16th, we are going to have an operational communication network. So that test is going to happen on that date. There'll be more information about that coming out, but just to let you know that that is a test and not any like actual emergency or scenario. That's just for us to test and make sure that our emergency communication plan is working. So yeah, if you have more questions on the app, there's an email there, or you can comment them on this Facebook live stream. We have a bunch of experts on the app who know way more about it than I do and could answer your questions more in detail. So if you have questions, send it to the email or post in the comments. With that, I think we've covered everything in terms of resources. So now let's get into more of the nitty-gritty things that you need to know before arriving. Mackie, do you want to take it from here?
I do. So on this Safe from Harm, a number of people have commented that when they attempted to take the training, there were, quote, not enough seats. That issue has been resolved. Some people had trouble printing the certificate. One of our folks was kind enough to go through and give us a detailed how to make sure your certificate gets printed. We're going to post that to the Facebook page, those instructions. So, you know, make sure you do that. I can tell you from personal experience that doing a pull from the database, it looked like mine wasn't in there. I've done mine. So it's going to happen, right? So print the certificate, bring it with you, save yourself a lot of time when you get there. Similarly, your TMS arrival confirmation email. Now, some people have pointed out that they haven't received that yet. That's okay. They're starting to roll out. We've been getting them from folks. So they're going to come out in batches based on when you're arriving, but it'd be a good idea to print that and keep it with you as well. You should go ahead and make sure that if you haven't talked to your supervisor at the Jamboree, who is, as a reminder, not one of us, it's somebody from the host, you need to talk to that person, right? So you can make sure that you're prepared for whatever you're going to be doing. Okay, so your tent assignment in the next days, unless you're in one of the special groups, and that's a pretty lengthy list actually, but unless you're in one of those special groups, you're going to get an email in the coming days that's going to give you your tent assignment. For the vast majority of you, that's going to be correct. So it's a good idea to print that out and bring it with you as well. It should match when you get there with your credentials and all that other stuff. But again, good idea to print it out and have it. Okay, so a lot of people are going to have these big blue bags, right? A lot of people are going to have scouting related things. A lot of people are going to have stuff that matches. So make sure you do something so that when you get to the airport or to the bus stop or to the summit, you can find your bag. I shouldn't express, or I shouldn't have to stress that as much, but every event like that, it's a pretty ridiculous task to watch people go through 500 blue bags and try and find theirs. So please mark yours. To that end, label everything. Scout is trustworthy. I don't expect there's going to be a lot of theft or anything like that, but there's also going to be a lot of items that look alike. There's going to be a lot of things that are similar. It's a camp, right? So make sure your stuff's labeled so that people get their stuff and not yours. We all love each other, but we don't want to share soap. Check the official packing list. It's got a lot of good information on it. It's a good idea to have everything that's on that list. I think Kathy touched on this a little bit. Make sure you have both of the apps on your phone. That's how the vast majority of information is going to be sent out. So if you don't have those apps, you're going to be at a substantial information disability, which is unpleasant when you're out there in the wilderness amongst your friends. Rest up. There's not going to be a lot of time to sleep, relax, and hang out. There's a lot of stuff packed into a few short days. And for the ISTs, you guys are going to be busy, right? So sleep, enjoy, talk to your family, relax, because we're not going to let you relax a lot when you're on site. Next slide, please. Yeah, so we talked about the packing list. Here's stuff you'll note is not on the packing list. So please don't bring it. There's some obvious stuff, unless you want to run afoul of the law in West Virginia, which is not a place to run afoul of the law. Don't bring personal firearms. Don't bring weapons of any kind. Please don't bring alcohol. Bulky luggage. Well, you're going to be carrying it, right? So a lot of people have misconceptions that they're going to have some sort of way to get all of their stuff carried for them. But look, I got a lot of status on a lot of airlines, but nobody's valeting my stuff, so yours isn't either. Don't bring unnecessarily valuable items. I mean, that probably goes without saying for a camp, but then again, I can't protect your gemstone collection. Electrical power cords to tents don't exist, and if you try to run them from some power source, we're going to end up disconnecting them. It's a fire hazard, it's a safety hazard. Also, a lot of the panels aren't rated for more power. Bottom line is, don't think you're going to get around the system and have magical power in your tent. You're not. Yeah, here again, wish it could go without saying, but you see comments every once in a while. If you have any racist, sexist, bigoted, discriminatory thoughts or comments, go ahead and leave those at home for us. Save us a lot of pain. Non-BSA approved behavior and activities, pretty similar, right? If it's not something that we're all going to be, that our program experience for all ages and personalities is going to be enhanced, just go ahead and don't do it. Negative attitudes never help anywhere. And I love the last bullet. I have a lot of experiences from 2013 and 2017, like a lot of them, good, bad, and some are scar tissue, some are really, really wonderful memories. None of them have anything to do with this event. It's completely different. So what happened back in 2017, it isn't going to happen here. So we can go ahead and forget that and move on to this event. Next slide, please. Okay. Always on your person, for safety reasons, for comfort reasons, your lanyard ID all the time. You're going to get this Novus wristband thing, which, by the way, we used something similar at an event before. It's actually a lot of fun. Wear it, have it. Wear your necker. I'm wearing mine right now. right? It'll be good.
And it
is actually required.
It looks really nice.
I appreciate that, Russell. Have your cell phone on you. I obviously, if we're using the app as our primary form of communication, it's not projected in the sky. You probably have to have the cell phone to know what's going on. AT&T has done a tremendous job of wiring the summit. Your cell phone is a good tool. Bring your water bottle and sun protection everywhere you go. The medical staff always reminds us a couple days in that the vast majority of the people they see, it's because they're not drinking enough water or because they're not protecting themselves from the sun. Don't be a statistic. Always have a buddy with you. We can recall people being found on trails alone and requiring medical attention in previous events. It actually happens. Don't be that guy. Have somebody with you. The summit is not 40p hill. It is not flat. You are not going to be walking in parking lots and then on even pavement. Have good walking shoes. If you want to know if they're good or not, walk on the ballast by a railroad track. If it's a comfortable shoe for that, then you're going to be fine. Have some food with you, right? Especially those of you that are going to be in high adventure areas, right? And don't skip meals. You'll have plenty of opportunities to lose weight at the summit without doing that. Listen, on behalf of literally everybody from around the world who's coming, please be sure that you're showering regularly. That absolutely doesn't go without saying, history tells us. So it'll make you healthier and happier, and the same for the rest of us. Next. All right,
my turn. We've got some information that has now begun to come out from the host about the check-in process, and in a few minutes we'll look at a slide about the check-out process. So I encourage you to go back and read these slides again. As always, Kathy will have them posted on our Facebook site so that you can take a look at them. Kathy and Mackie have already covered a number of the things that are important about your arrival. Mainly the paperwork that you need to have, the safe from harm. That's the essential piece of information. The medical information, you've already done that on site, we hope, or on the website. And there's no necessity of bringing a paper medical form. It certainly doesn't hurt to have one with you while you're traveling. But there's nobody's going to ask for it or take it up or put it on file when you get there. It's been said many, many times there are specific arrival times that have been set and agreed upon by the host for different areas of staff. And there are always folks that think that if they show up early, that will be a help. Not necessarily so. You may not be able to do anything to help, and then you're just a burden. And so if you do show up, you're going to get charged for it. Be it before the day that you're authorized to show up. And Mackie referred earlier to the email that's going to come to you verifying your check-in day. But when you do arrive and come in, if you're coming into one of the gateways, and that's Charlotte Airport or the airport in Charleston, West Virginia, and believe it or not, occasionally we have people that show up in Charleston, South Carolina. That's not where you want to be. Charleston, West Virginia, Charlotte, North Carolina, or, of course, the Ruby Welcome Center there at the summit. So any of those three gateways, there'll be information at the two airports about how to find a shuttle to get you from there to the Ruby Welcome Center. And then, again, contrary to perhaps your experience at the last National Jamboree, you will not be allowed to drive on site and drop your gear. Everyone checks in at Ruby. All of your gear has to come out of your car at Ruby, and then you'll get on a shuttle and you'll be transported from there, from your parking area. But first thing you do is check in at the Welcome Center, get your gear squared away, go through the check-in process, make sure everything's good to go. We will have folks there from Mackie and Kathy's IST Commissioner team. Starting on the 17th, we'll have somebody there at Ruby one or two people who can assist you if you do run into any issues. But once you checked in, then you'll be directed to one of the long-term parking areas in and around the Ruby Welcome Center, and then you'll get on a shuttle that will take you from there to either Echo, which is where most of the IST will be, or to one of the base camps if you're assigned into there. Continuing the process, next slide. And the things that they're going to check is that you've completed that online health history, that you go through a West Virginia health questionnaire. That's just going to ask you some questions and about your recent health, make sure you're good to go. You present your Safe from Harm certificate. Mackie mentioned earlier that we know there have been some issues with that, but there is a process to make sure that's done, and then to make sure you're all paid up. And certainly we would figure that all of our folks have handled all of those things, and so they will not be bogged down at the check-in time. Then once you get that, you're going to get your credentials, and then you can go get on your shuttle and come on out to the summit and either get off at Echo, where most of the IST will be, or at one of the base camps if you're assigned to one of those. I should mention that the host has the aspiration, and it's a wonderful aspiration, that they are going to try and set up a lot of the tents in Echo, where most of us are going to be staying. The reality we all know is that things will happen. There'll be some weather issue, there'll be other things that come up. So do not be surprised if when you get there that you have to help set up your tent. We know that's probably true on the two-person tents, but even on the four-person tents, the last drive-through that I did in Echo was last week on Tuesday, and there were very few skins that were on the frames of even the four-person tents at that point. Now, they may have made progress since I was there last week, but don't be surprised, don't be angry, just pitch in and get it done. That's the best thing we all can do, is to give everything we can to make this work smoothly and not add any burden or issues to the host. The tent assignments, Kathy's going to cover a little bit more about that in just a moment. We have finished now, I think, going through all the tenting process. And again, she will thank you, but I want to thank all of you very much for helping us through that process. It was a bit of a surprise to us, just like it was to you, that we had to redo our tent assignments, but it's all worked out fine, and she'll talk more about that in just a minute. And then those of you that are in Echo, we will also have members of our commissioner team, Mackie and Kathy and Bill's team, that will be there in Echo to assist you in finding your tent site, getting connected with your tent mates, whoever they may be, and getting you oriented in whatever other ways need to be done to make your check-in process as happy and uneventful as it possibly can be. So thank you very much for that. There's a schedule, I believe, here coming up next that shows some of the hours related to check-in. For most of us, the 18th of July on Thursday, registration opens up at 8 a.m. and it's 24 hours from that point forward until everybody's on site. For those few of us who may be coming in prior to that, there's specific hours, 8 to 8 on Wednesday, and before that it's pre-approval only, and that doesn't apply to most of us. And for those that it does apply to, you, I'm sure, know what your situation is and what you're supposed to do if you're an early check-in. So it's all falls within those hours, but mainly starting on Thursday morning at 8 o'clock, it's open from that moment forward until we get everybody checked in, no matter what time of day you come in. Next slide. Check out. So before you know it, as Kathy said, it's only a few hundred hours until we get there, and then once it starts, it'll only be a few hundred more hours until it's time to go home. The reverse process of checking out is that depending upon whether you're traveling by a personal vehicle or whether you're traveling by air or rail, and that would be air in most of our IST's case, I'm sure. So 2 hours prior to your assigned departure time by personal vehicle, or 4 hours prior to that time, be sure that you're out of your tent, that you've reported appropriately far enough ahead of time to the headquarters in whichever camp you're staying in, and then just reverse the process from there. You'll get checked out, you'll get back on a shuttle, you'll get back over to Ruby, or you'll get on a shuttle going to one of those airports that you're leaving from, and we'll be sad to see you go, but we'll all have had a great time together at the Jamboree. So all of these slides, again, will be posted on our Facebook page, and if there's any questions about them, just be sure and reread them. And if something else is still not clear, then post a question and we'll get back to you. Thank you.
Okay, tenting. I guess if our friend Katie has been our swag lady, you can call me the tent lady. So we really appreciate all you guys for being so accommodating. We know we sort of sprung the fact that we have 2-man tents on you guys. We promised it was just as much of a surprise to us, but we're glad that everyone was so okay with that, and we were able to get through it and come up with a good solution that I think we're going to make as many people happy as possible. So basically what we did a few weeks ago, we sent you an email with our preliminary tent made information. We went through and processed all the change requests that you guys made based on those preliminary information. And hopefully tomorrow or Friday, but most likely tomorrow, you're going to be getting an email with your final tent assignments. So that is going to tell you whether you're in a 2-man tent or a 4-man tent, in your group of tent mates, as well as contact information for them if you want to get in touch prior to arriving on site to organize gear or space or any special accommodations if you want to make sure that you can get a bottom bunk or a top bunk because you're too tall or can't climb up the ladder or whatever reason that you want to get a certain bunk. That's stuff that you can talk to them about beforehand just to make sure there's no surprises. So that's a great idea to contact them once you get that email. But just note that once you get that email tomorrow telling you your final location, please do not respond to it asking for changes. We cannot make any more changes prior to arriving on site. So that's going to be locked in stone until you get on site. And like Mackie mentioned before, it's a really good idea when you're doing your pre-Jamboree checklist to print out that email. The vast majority of people, that email is going to say the same exact thing as what's on your arrival card information when you're checking in at the Ruby Welcome Center. But in a couple circumstances, it might be different because we had to print those check-in packets a week or so ago, and we've made a couple changes to our tenting roster since those packets have been printed. So your packet might have something that's from a previous version of our roster, so what's in that email is going to be the most up-to-date information. So you want to print that or write the number down or some way for you to remember exactly what your tent number is. If you aren't able to do that, you can still check in with our USA Commissioners that are going to be at Ruby and Echo, but it's just going to slow you down a little bit. So it's going to be a lot faster for you to get your stuff in your tent if you go ahead and print that out ahead of time. And just that if you're in a special tent group, which includes a long laundry list of items like medical, transportation, base camp, food service, rover brigade, some media people, some safety, some green team, there's a couple of chaplains, things like that. If you're in one of those special groups listed above or that I mentioned, you will not be getting that email tomorrow because your tents were not assigned by the US. Your tents were assigned by the overall Jamboree host team, and they have decided to not email those prior. You're just going to find out when you arrive at the summit unless your team lead has specifically already told you. So just don't be surprised if you're in, say, a medical team and you don't know your tent tomorrow. That's okay. That's on purpose. Okay, so I think that's all I have about tenting. If you have more questions about it, feel free to comment them below and we'll get to them a little bit later. So here's some pictures of the tents. I know a lot of people are asking for them. So on the left, you can see our 2-man tents, which are very similar to ones used at previous Jamborees for participants. They're going to have cots inside of them. The cots are raised up sort of army cot type things. So those will come with the tent. And in the 4-man tent, which is on the right, it has nylon sides and a metal frame. It has a nylon bottom. It is not a wooden bottom. And it's going to have 2 bunk beds inside of it. And they're sort of army cot style bunk beds. They're not padded mattresses, but there's going to be 1 bunk bed on each side. So for 4 beds total. A lot of people have posted the dimensions of these tents. If you're trying to get a little bit, I don't know, Tetris-y and try to figure out how to fit things into the tents, you can look up the exact dimensions, but just make sure you're checking with your tent mates before you bring anything big, because as you can see, with 2 people on the left and 4 people on the right, it's still going to be a pretty cozy fit. So make sure you're not bringing more gear than you need, especially because you have to carry it all on your back. You can't drive anything to the site. So just make sure you're being very conscious of what you bring. So other things that have been coming out recently, you probably saw that the BSA came out with our uniform policy for our USA contingent. So that policy is pretty straightforward. It basically lines up with policies that most councils and regions have for their participants at national jamborees. There's nothing really unusual or outside the box for it, so it should be pretty straightforward and expected. Basically, your field uniform should be worn during any sort of important time. So that's going to include things like the opening ceremonies, formal events like religious services, if you're having any photo opportunities, during check-in, things like that. So that's when you should be wearing your field uniform. And that consists of your regular things like your BSA pants, your BSA shirt, BSA belt buckle, like those kinds of things. And just make sure you're wearing the proper World Jamboree patches. So we mailed a lot of you guys those IST shoulder strips and then the round USA contingent emblem. Just remember that that round patch that you got in the mail, it goes on your right pocket. It does not go above your pocket. The patch that goes above your pocket is going to be given out once you arrive at the Jamboree. You'll also be getting a Messengers of Peace ring once you arrive on site. I know some people like to bring thread ahead of time to sew things on. It's not a big deal. If you don't do that, you don't have to sew it on site. It's just an option. And then you're also going to have the World Jamboree necker. So the host necker is the one that we've been saying is sort of the required ID form. You'll get that once you arrive on site. The blue USA contingent necker, that's what was mailed to you. You're not required to wear that, but it is strongly recommended just to denote that you're with the USA. Lots of people like to stack their neckers or wrap them together. You'll see people wearing, I don't know, a dozen neckers at the same time. So that's not uncommon. So you'll see lots of people doing that. So that's your field uniform. Your activity uniform is what you're going to be wearing on a day-to-day basis, just like you would at most summer camps, things like that. So that's just going to be what you're wearing while staffing. It's going to be just a scout t-shirt or a plain t-shirt, or you're going to be wearing your BSA shorts or pants, depending on what you want. Trust us, you do not want to wear jeans. They're not allowed, but it's going to be very, very hot and humid in West Virginia, so wearing the nice wicking scout pants is going to be perfect, actually. And then just remember that if you wear any hats, they have to be scout appropriate, as well as any shirts that are non-scout specific. They should be plain. They should not be anything unscout-like, just common sense things like that. Other things to note, we're going to have a cultural day. So during cultural day, most staff jobs will not be working. So you're going to be able to go around and sort of see the activities at the summit, talk to all the participants, check out some things unique to their cultures. And we're encouraging people to wear clothing that's unique to their part of the country. So whether you want to represent your southern region, central region, or if you want to get a little bit more specific, you can wear something specific to your state or city, etc. Just keep in mind that those should be in good taste and appropriate in the sense that they should not be in any way considered offensive to other people or mocking specific culture, just things like that. Just be very conscious of how things may be perceived. Even if you intend it to be a joke, people might not take it as a joke. So just be very conscious of what you're deciding to do for that. And I guess just our common sense rule of thumb, when you look good, you feel good, and when you feel good, you do good. And our purpose here as IST staff members is to give our participants the best experience possible. So we want to make sure we're able to excel at our jobs so that they're able to go home having the best experience of their lifetime. And with that, we have just some time for an open Q&A session. I'm going to pull us back up so you can see us again. And I think we're just going to go through and read comments. I've already seen a couple comments that we can run through the answers to really fast. Like for one, I know we got a couple comments about laundry. So that's been a common question the past couple of weeks. And basically the answer is there's not going to be any main laundry service available as far as we know. The host hasn't been able to find someone to provide that. So basically just there's going to be wash basins at every single shower house. So you can bring your stuff to one of those wash basins. Lots of people are bringing buckets and plungers. You can take it in the shower with you. There's lots of ways to keep your stuff clean. Just be aware that there's not going to be like coin-operated laundry or anything like that available. What other questions have you guys seen? I saw our wonderful Todd Christian mentioned that our USA Contingent Supplemental Guidebook is going to be coming out super soon. So you'll be seeing that in the coming week or so. What else? Mackie, Russell, have you seen any questions so far?
I think that's pretty much it. I should mention that there will probably be some more information coming out about more details about the check-in, check-out process. If you go online to the official website of the World Jamboree, the New World News has all of this information in it as well, so you can read it there direct at the source if you want to check out any of those details. And there's also a way you can ask questions directly to the host if you wish to do so on any of those parts. Someone asked, is there a staff show? There is an event, we'll call it, on Sunday night. I think we mentioned on at least one of the past office hours that our USA participant contingent is coming in on Sunday, the 21st. The rest of the world comes in on Monday, the 22nd. And so we're coming a day early so that we can assist the host in being greeters and good hosts for the rest of the world. So there's a pep rally, if you will, for our participants the night before, Sunday night, before the rest of the world comes in on Monday morning. And following that pep rally, there will be some entertainment and music that is available for both our participants that are there on Sunday and also for our IST. And the IST, everyone is invited to come to this pep rally and be a part of that. So that's kind of the staff show or staff event is on Sunday evening. Another question for you, Russell, that you might be able to answer. Are all the four-man tents the same model, or are there going to be different models? That's a good question. All of the frames that I saw driving through Echo and around the various base camps on last week, Monday and Tuesday, all look the same to me. The normal steel frame with the floor that you mentioned, a bathtub type floor that connects to the sidewalls on the four-person tents. They all look the same to me. I know that we've used several different models. The seasonal staff who have been there all summer, their tents may very well be different. And I didn't pay attention, frankly, when I drove by their area to close enough to notice whether they were different or not. So they may be different, but all of the other ones I saw appeared to me to be the same. Let's see what else we got. Can they wear their wood badge beads with their field uniform? Of course. Wood badge is called Wood Badge or the Gilwell course around the world. Almost every National Scout organization that I know anything about does some type of training that is either called Wood Badge or Gilwell course. And the beads are the universal recognition of that. So that's a good way to indicate to people from other countries, other National Scout organizations, that you have participated in the highest training that scouting offers, and it's very likely that they would recognize that because they'll have the same regalia, the neckerchief, the woggle, the beads. That's the same around the world. A question about the day trips. I'm not sure how much you know about those day trips, but someone asked if they have to sign up for them ahead of time or if they can sign up at the Jamboree. On site. That was actually covered at the head of contingent meeting back in April. And the best I recollect from the presentation on that topic, there's a whole staff of the Jamboree planning team that are devoted to putting on programs for international service team members, both on-site and off-site. And in order to keep it completely equal access, because not everybody has internet access around the world, they made the decision that there would be no advance registration for any of those activities. So everybody has the opportunity on an equal footing, equal basis when they get there to sign up to participate in a wide variety of international service team program activities, most of which are off-site, but there are some on-site as well.
Will IST clothing be available for purchase?
I'm sure unless an item is sold out, it will be in a store, because there's certainly no interest in the host in having anything left over at the end economically. So any inventory that they have bought or made for participants or for international service team will be in a store. There certainly will be a store in ECHO, and that's where you would expect to find all the international service team apparel, neckerchiefs, patches, whatever is left from the online sales that have been going on for some time now. And it's also likely there'll be some items that have not been available before now. So yes, there will definitely be items for sale.
Yeah, and to add on to that, I know a couple of people were asking about their program-specific IST gear. So some teams like program, I think maybe logistics and a few others, ordered stuff through the Target IST vendor. That website, I believe some people are going to be arriving those. Some of that stuff will be arriving on site, so that might be why you didn't receive it ahead of time. And then in terms of USA stuff, we do have a few USA items, so those like duffel bags, backpack, patches, any of those that we had left over from online sales, those are going to be on sale on site. So the generic stuff is going to be available at the Gateway Trading Post, and all the IST specific stuff for the US is going to be at the ECHO Trading Post.
And I can confirm what you said earlier about the Target IST stuff. I spoke with the gentleman who runs that operation just a couple of days ago, and he's in the thick of packing and getting all of that stuff organized and sorted. But I don't think it was ever in the plan that any of that would be shipped ahead of time. All of that is, I think his plan was always all of that will be delivered to the department head or the supervisor or the team leader. Whoever ordered it will get it on site and then distribute it out to the members of the team. So he was very, very busy assembling and getting all of that stuff organized and ready to come to the site and be there when we show up.
Let's see. See, we'll answer questions for a couple more minutes and then we'll wrap this up. I'll see. I don't see any new comments on our post.
Mackie, what are you most looking forward to?
Goodness, Russell. Probably because I'm going to be visiting units, right? So I'm going to have the opportunity to get out and about and see people interacting with other cultures they don't normally get to interact with, and it's always really cool to see that in this element as opposed to anywhere else on Earth where it's usually more strained. It'll be nice to see people, getting along and being a world community.
Great answer. Kathy, what about you?
I'm not sure yet. I've never been to a World Jamboree before, so I think everything's going to be a new experience for me. So very much excited for that. I guess we have some fun facts to share while we sit and wait for a couple more questions.
Go for it.
So, if you had to guess, how old is the oldest IST member who's coming? Anyway, I'll give you like 10 seconds to comment your answer. How old do you think is the oldest IST member coming to the Jamboree? answer is 91. So that's super impressive. We're going to have IST ranging from 18 to 91. So that's going to be super excited. We've got people of all ages coming. Our USA, I think our average age is around 51 or so for our IST, but we only make up maybe 1/3 of the staff total. So in general, all of the staff are even younger than that. So I think our overall average staff age is, I don't know, maybe like 40, something like that. So there's going to be a huge spread of people from around the world. It's going to be super exciting. You're going to have lots of opportunities to meet new people in your program areas. Almost every single program team has a good mix of people from all around the world that you'll get to know.
So you're saying if everybody acts 10 years younger, that'll be just perfect. We'll be right there with the rest of them.
Exactly, exactly. We had a couple of good guesses here in our comments. A couple people were in the 90s. Oh, okay, a couple of other questions have come through. Can we go back to our cars after we have arrived on site during the Jamboree?
You can. There'll be a shuttle, and I think the shuttle schedule is posted on the host website. I think so. But generally speaking, once the Jamboree is in process, and even in the staff prep days leading up to that, there will be a constant shuttle going back and forth between Ruby Welcome Center, Echo, and the other base camps on a specific schedule. So if someone wants to leave some things in the car and go back and get them, for instance, if you want to take part of your clothes for the first half and then sometime midway go back to your car and get a reload on clean and nice smelling clothes, that's possible. And that's a daily thing. And I think it runs until 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night. So it's pretty late. So you can eat dinner and then take a ride out to Ruby, get stuff, and come back and be back on site. But don't miss the last bus, because that would be a problem, because there is no way to get you back on site after the last bus comes back.
Other questions. Is there going to be a band? Yes, there is. And they're definitely not going to tell you who it is. It's always a secret, and that makes it the most fun part.
Yeah, so there's going to be bands at the shows, but there's also going to be a Jamboree band.
That's a good point.
And this time, the Jamboree band, in the past, it's been a combination of some folks that were recruited for it and then others who just kind of show up and go and participate. But this time, the band is entirely made up of international service team members who were recruited and signed up to be a part of the Jamboree band. They're going to be playing every day, multiple times a day, all over the Jamboree site, small groups, big groups. So it'll be all day, every day, band somewhere.
Can IST do the participant activities on the days off?
It really depends on the load of a particular activity. If an international service team member shows up at a program activity and there's not a line of youth waiting to do it, I'm sure the staff at that activity will find a way to work you into the queue and give you an opportunity to do it. On the other hand, don't plan on going ziplining, because there's just not enough capacity to even do the number of youth who will want to do ziplining. So pick another item. There's usually a lot of capacity in shooting sports. There's usually pretty good capacity in climbing, biking. Those activities are it's much more possible and much more probable that you'll get a chance to do those sort of activities. But the aerial sports, ziplining, canopy tours, forget it, because those are just too many youth will want to do those activities.
Okay, I guess I'll do our last trivia question, and we can answer some of the questions in the comments while you guys are thinking of your trivia answers. So the question is we've got say round number, we've got 3,000-ish IST coming from the US. What's the most common name, and how many people have that name? Think on that for a little bit. While you're thinking on that and writing your answers in the comments below, we've got maybe 2 or 3 last questions to answer. One is...
And we're doing both male male and female name,
Yeah,
most
sure.
common?
Sure.
Okay.
Is there a commemoration of the Wood Badge Centennial that we know of? Was a question?
I know that was discussed at various points, but I don't recall whether there was a final decision made about incorporating that into the program somewhere. So I don't know the answer to that.
Do we need to bring our OA sashes?
The Order of the Era is a uniquely Boy Scouts of America organization. There's certainly nothing that keeps you from bringing it, but there'll never be an opportunity where it's appropriate to wear it. So if you want to bring it to show it to somebody and talk to other countries about what the Order of the Era is, God bless you, have at it. But there's not going to be any activity where the Order of the Era sash would be appropriate to be worn. Is that correct, Mackie, as far as you know?
That is correct.
Can you just talk about the differences between a World Jamboree and a National Jamboree?
I think we'll run out of time trying to do that one. In every way possible you can think. Just off the top of my head, things that come to mind, like we just said, there's no Order of the Era involvement because that's a strictly Boy Scouts of America piece of scouting. Far as I know, there's very little or else nothing like it at any other National Scout organization. Merit badges, even though other countries do badges, proficiency badges or merit badges, we do not do those at a World Jamboree. The Global Development Village and World Point, that is a major component of the program at a World Jamboree. There's nothing like that at a National Jamboree because you have essentially one country. So World Point will be a place where someone can go visit representatives from every National Scout organization that's participating. And the Global Development Village is where you can participate with our youth will be formed into temporary patrols with scouts from other countries, and they'll get a chance to spend the day, or at least part of the day, working on issues that face us around the world: environmental, global, political, social, economic, all those sort of things. And again, that's just not something we do at a National Jamboree. So there's lots of differences. The shows will be much different because again, they're focused on a broad range of interests and cultures. So lots of differences. Mackie, what else?
That's really, I think, the biggest thing, right? So most BSA events like National Scout Jamboree is really programmed and really, you have a day-to-day schedule, and if you're a youth, there's going to be advancement stuff and everything's laid out for you. World Jamboree is a lot about getting to know people and fellowship, and it's a completely different program. It's a lot of fun.
Yep. Much more social. That's true.
Okay, well, we're getting to our 9 o'clock Central Time end, so we're going to start wrapping this up. I guess I'll give you the answers to our trivia questions. Lots and lots of you got it right in the comments, shockingly. Our most common USA male name, so this is just for USA IST, is John at, I think, 61 Johns. So if you don't know someone, safe bet, you can say John, you got like, I don't know, what's that, like a 5% chance you're right. So John is our most common male, followed by Michael, and then for females, I think we had Mary and Susan were the top two, and all 4 of those names were said, so I'm super impressed by you guys.
Absolutely.
I guess, Mac, do you have any closing comments before we go?
Nope, just to add in, all you ISTs, you're going to be representing the United States on the world stage, and anyone that isn't under a rock knows that right now is a really important time for us to put our best foot forward and to look the part and be the part, be wonderful ambassadors. This is going to be an awesome event, and since the U.S. has not hosted it in 50 years, we only get one shot to get this right. So I look forward to working with all of you as you deliver that program. Thank you very much.
Russell, how about you? Last thoughts?
Well, I'm certainly blessed for having a great team of our commissioner team as part of the contingent management team, and certainly appreciate Mackie. We've had the chance to work together now for several national jamborees and now the World Jamboree and some various Order of the Era events through the years. Always a pleasure to work with Mackie. Thank you so much for all you're doing. And Kathy, every expectation that anyone could have had about your part of this, you've exceeded it. You've handled the Facebook group, you've done these office hours, you've handled all the tenting, and goodness knows how many questions you've answered. Some of them the same question many, many times, but always kindly and courteously. And so thank you so much for everything that you have done, both of you have done. And I know it's going to be a great experience to get to work with you in these 272 hours now that we'll be there with our participants from around the world showing up. But we know our job really begins in about 100 hours. So it'll be great to work with both of you. So thank you for your service.
All right. Well, I guess that's all we have for tonight, unless anyone has any other thoughts.
Well, I got a little Scoutmaster minute, if I can do
How
it.
did I forget? Exactly. Perfect.
Good to go.
Please, the floor is yours.
So I've got an object tonight. Everybody knows what this is. I'm going to get out of the picture, right? And so this little Scoutmaster minute is courtesy of my good scouting friend, Robbie Hill. Robbie is the founder and still active in the Chat and Chew. And if you don't know what the Chat and Chew is by now, you'll know in about 272 hours or so for sure. So be sure and visit that while you're in the Jamboree. But Robbie did a little Scoutmaster minute in 2007. He was a Scoutmaster there. I was a Southern Region chairman or chief that year. And Robbie has a habit of doing Scoutmaster minutes based on some object that his scouts give him. And I happened to be there that morning when at the campsite there at Chelmsford in England, and his scouts gave him a hammer and said, do a Scoutmaster minute about a hammer. And brilliantly, Robbie made this point, and it's the one I'd like to leave you with. A hammer has two ends. It has the end you use to hammer the nail in, and the end that sometimes you use to pull the nails out. Most of us are coming to this Jamboree with nails that we've nailed in about what we believe about the rest of the world, about what their culture is like, about what they're like, about what their religion is like, etc. We've driven a lot of nails in mentally about what we believe about them. What I hope is that at this World Jamboree, you'll get to use the other end of this hammer, that you'll get to pull some of those nails out, because you'll find out that some of those things that you believed about those folks aren't true at all. And likewise, I hope that they'll be pulling some nails out about us too, that some things they may believe about us as citizens of the United States of America, that they're not true. We're all scouts together. And so if we can not drive nails in, but spend the next week pulling some of those nails that we've driven in a mental sense about other people and their cultures through the years, if we can pull some of those nails out and go home believing better and more accurate things about people from the rest of the world, then this Jamboree will have been a success. And in the meantime, we're going to have a lot of fun getting together and learning more about each other. So thank you all for being part of this. Thank you for what you've done. Thank you for what you're getting ready to do to make this Jamboree be the very best World Jamboree that has ever happened. Thank you.
Wow, can't follow that at all. But I look forward so much to meeting all of you on site. Please go ahead, seek out any of our CMT members at any point. We'll be in these blue shirts and white neckers. We have a headquarters tent. Come by and say hi. We love meeting all of you. But until then, let's get ready for this. Let's do it.
Let's do it.